Okay, welcome to today's episode of Financial Fluency. Today I am speaking with Tejal Patel from the Mindful Mama Experience. Hi Tejal, how are you doing?
Good, Jen. How are you?
I am good. I'm really excited to talk to you today. I was looking over your bio and I saw that you used to be a divorce lawyer and have turned to mindfulness coach for moms. And that just sounds like a really interesting transition from one career to another. Can you tell us some of the background of that story?
Absolutely. So, in my late 20s, when I was a divorce attorney, I did all out of court divorces. So, it's a little bit different vantage point because I had both the husband and the wife in front of me. And so I did mediations and I did all out of court divorce resolutions. And I did the number one thing that they say you should never do in law school, and that is get personally invested in your clients. And I'm just a sensitive person in general. And when I see people hurting, it just obviously it affects me. But I would take home my clients' problems and I would think, if I was feeling the anger, the resentment, the pain of my clients, what were their children experiencing at home? And that thought kept coming in my mind, and it really triggered something from my own childhood. I was a child at the age of 4 who struggled with anxiety and low self-esteem, and there's a lot of tension and anger in my home, and I absorbed a lot of that. And it was interesting, but becoming a divorce attorney re-triggered all my wounds and my experiences as a child. So I needed some tools to help me with my anxiety, to deal with my stress that I was experiencing in my career and my personal life. And also, very interestingly, the first time I got introduced to meditation, my dad taught me when I was 4 years old. So I remember how that had helped me with my stress and my anxiety when I was younger. So at 28, I went back to that. I said, hey, you know what? Let me try that. Maybe that might help me. And so I started to feel this transformation, and I realized, why aren't we teaching children this? Not only like for my divorcing clients who their children are obviously going to be dealing with, some challenging emotions and struggles, but children in general are dealing with so much more stress and anxiety just with day-to-day life and just bullying at school and just the world we live in. So I started to be a divorce attorney by day, and I would teach children's yoga and meditation and mindfulness at nighttime. And I did that for about I did that together probably about 2 years. And then for the past 7 years, I strictly became a mindfulness teacher for kids. And then 3 years ago, I realized something. I realized, I was planting these seeds in children, but unless their moms are practicing and reinforcing these tools at home, and we get teachers practicing and reinforcing these skills, they're really not going to practice in their day-to-day life. They might be like me, where the seed is planted and they'll maybe at some point in their life get to it. But if we want to see them practicing and better managing stress and difficult emotions and feel confident now, we as the adults need to rise up and put it in a practice in our own life first.
Wow, that's really great. And that immediately spoke to me so much because I was one of those kids going through multiple divorces. My parents both married each other, divorced, both remarried, both got divorced again. And then my father remarried. Gosh, I wish I'd met you when I was a kid.
I know, we would have been friends. We totally would have been friends.
But an interesting thing is, when I was very young, I was involved in a sort of alternative religion that did have meditation too. And I had some very bad experiences in it. So I absolutely withdrew from meditation for many, many years. And just in the last 2 years have started going back to it for stress and things like that myself. So that whole path that you just described while you were saying, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can so relate to exactly what you're talking about.
That's awesome.
And I think you're so right. Because I was thinking about me going back to meditation. I have 2 kids with special needs. They both have autism, and my oldest has medical needs as well. And I lately have tried doing a few very, very simple sort of meditative exercises with them, which I stay away from organized religion, but like Gabby Bernstein has had a few that I'm just like presence exercises where, you say you use your fingers while you say like sa, ta, na, ma, or, you know, have these little things. And I've been trying to help my kids with their anxiety, both with breathing and with that too, like when we go to medical situations and things. But I think I need to sign up for your course actually, because I feel very, floundering with my own kids. Like I don't want to indoctrinate them into any organized religion.
Yes,
I really
I
stay
feel
away
you on
from
that
that.
too. So
Yeah, but I want them to have tools for managing anxiety and stress, because they both have a bit extra with their extra challenges through autism. So I'm really excited to talk to you. Tell me more. Tell me more about what you do. How do you work with the mom? Do you work with moms and kids at the same time, or like work with the moms and then the moms work with the kids? Or how does it work?
yeah, so, working with kids the past 7 years, I really recognize that moms are in the most unique situation of their kids are the most raw and real with their moms.
Yeah,
And
we
so,
get the poop and the snot and the
exactly.
vomit.
you know, my son is like, everybody who sees him or meets him, they're like, oh, he's so like pleasant and he's so calm. And I'm like, yes, he is that. But then come to my home behind the scenes and it's a different story. And
Uh-huh.
so really my desire and what my work is to give the power back to the mom and to help the mom have a foundation and a practice of her own. So not only is she modeling it, then once she has her own foundation, I teach moms tools for their children so that you're going to be practicing with your children, reinforcing it. And I really do have this beautiful gift of just working with kids and how to make this relatable and understandable. And I'm also I'm a Kundalini meditation teacher. So what Gabby teaches, so the whole the Satanama, the breathing, creating anchors for kids, I'm all about that. That's such a great way. And that works I've seen it work for so many kids. So that's so awesome that you do that with your kids.
Well, I find that having just this little thing to do with my hand, it helps me stick with it longer, like, because my brain wanders something terrible. So having a little something to say and a little something to do allows me to like push off my busyness and all the stuff that crowds in all the time. It's like it just gives enough of my brain enough to do to keep it busy so I can like clear out and calm down.
Absolutely. And that's like a lot of the tips that I teach for kids. It's a lot of like creating an anchor for them. So it's not just you're telling them, oh, take a deep breath. They're doing something with their hands or they're doing something that they can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I teach their moms, you're doing it during playtime. You're incorporating it during times when they're not hungry, angry, tired. And so you're building a consistent practice, not only with yourself, but you're also building it with your children.
But you've made me realize through thinking about this, I often try to get up a little early to do that when they're still asleep, which means they don't see me doing it. I had that realization a while ago with reading too, because I do so much either on my phone or on my Kindle. I was like, my kids aren't seeing me pick up real books the way I always saw my mom and dad pick up real books. So I've started going back to actual books just because I was like, I need to be modeling reading real books for my kids as well, because I want them to be reading real books. And so do you recommend that you model it for them and do it with them?
Yeah. So what I suggest because I have my morning practice before anybody gets up and I have that is for you. That practice helps you stay centered, helps you stay connected. But there are so many times when my son is playing, I will stop and I'll sit there and I'll just take a few deep breaths and model the meditation. And my son is 2 and he's like, oh, mama's doing Oma. Mama's doing Omas. And so he has like a little meditation pillow and he'll sit on there and he'll be like, oh, I do Oma. So like, I think the modeling is also more for them. It's your reset because it helps you take a few deep breaths as you move through your day, because we need those resets. And that's kind of the crux of how I teach moms to infuse mindfulness into their life, is using everyday moments to transform them into really quick like resets for you to just pause, get centered, and just move forward with your day. So yeah, I think it just the modeling, but also having your own practice. So with like the way that I teach it is, we do so many tasks during our day that happen rather mindlessly. Like I'll give you an example, like we brush our teeth, we're opening doors, we're cooking, we're driving, we're doing laundry or folding laundry. These are all opportunities that a lot of times we go in autopilot. Like our mind will take over because we're thinking about things or we're distracted. Like I hate washing dishes. So I find that if I'm ever washing dishes, that's like my mind can take me somewhere else because I don't want to be where I'm at that moment. So what I do is I help create a little anchor. And so in my course, I give little cards that moms can place up around their house. But if you don't have cards, you could just put a Post-it. So any place, like for example, when you start your day, you could put a Post-it on your bathroom mirror that says breathe deep. So for the moment that you're brushing your teeth, for that minute or 2 minutes, you're connecting, you're looking into your eyes, you're taking deep breaths in and out of your nose, you're brushing, and you're basically creating a calmness, you're creating a stillness, you're creating calmness in your nervous system, and you're breathing. So you're creating that minute to just reset. And so I help moms create a few different moments in their day that are resets. And then over five weeks, they're like, wait, this just becomes automatic. I don't even need to use that, look at the Post-it anymore to remind me. I just know that if I'm opening the door, that I'll do a breath. Or if I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking at my eyes and I'm focusing on connecting to myself and just taking deep breaths. So it's kind of like Pavlov and the bell. It's like you're creating a habitual pattern of like when you do an activity, then you'll do a breathing, like you'll slow your breathing down during those moments.
I've noticed just even talking to you, each time you've mentioned breath, I've gone,
I noticed that with you.
It's made me, it's like that reaction to take a deep breath. And I'm slightly congested, so I wasn't sure if people could hear on the audio or not, but maybe they can. Yeah, I just got back from a long trip to the UK and I always seem to pick up just a little something at the end of it. So pardon me for that. No. But yeah, just hearing someone talk about breathing makes me want to breathe deeply and slowly.
That's nice. Funny that you say that because I did a radio interview this morning and we were talking about breathing and she's like, said the same thing. She's like, you just said breathe deep. And I noticed that like my shoulders just relaxed. Like, I just been practicing. I was like, it's so funny. Maybe we just need to keep saying breathe. And that's the idea. Like when you see like Post-its that say like breathe deep throughout, it's the best part is that it has made my husband stop and just naturally take deep breaths because it's visually in front of you. And he's like, I noticed that I like pause every time I see that, like I take deep breaths. So it's not just for you, like it's for everybody who kind of like looks at like the card and he's like, oh, breathe deep. So you just naturally take a deep breath.
That's interesting. I remember there was a point with when I either walk my dogs or get on the treadmill where I think about trying to, inhale to 5 and exhale to 10 or something like that, those kind of breaths they tell you to do. And just counting that while I walk does kind of the same thing. Like it lets my mind kind of blank out and stop all the busy work for a little while. Yeah. I might have to do that more consciously. I don't always do. I usually listen to a podcast because I listen to a lot of podcasts or an audiobook while I walk because I'm trying to do this 100-book challenge this year.
Oh, cool. How far along are you? I
think I'm at 24. So by the end of March, I want to hit 25 because I'll be a quarter of the way through the year. And I do one audiobook and then one either Kindle or a physical book each week. So if I can do 2 books a week, I'll get a little more than 100 by the end of the year. With a couple of weeks off, I'll get right at 100. But yeah, so I have a few different things I try to do, but I'm like, maybe I should be working the breathing in a bit more. Reading relaxes me too, or listening to a book relaxes me. But yeah, I do find by the end of the day, a lot of times my shoulders are right up here at my ears.
I know. We hold so much tension hearing.
Yeah. So what, in terms of people who aren't very familiar with mindfulness and meditation, what are some of the results that over time people experience from doing your course or working with you?
So one of the most common is that moms feel that they feel more confident that they could stay centered when unexpected things happen. So they feel that like, okay, their child is having a meltdown, they can take a step back and be able to be present for them and be like, let's take a deep breath together. And that's been the best thing, because when you feel that you're in control and when you feel that you're being triggered when your child is having a meltdown and you're not reacting, that is the biggest thing. So being able to stay calm and centered in the midst of chaos.
Not yell at your child.
Yeah.
Model the behavior you want.
Right. And there is such a confidence that comes in moms where they're like, oh my gosh, I stayed calm. Like I went down to their level and I was breathing with them. And I didn't, even though I felt uncomfortable, like honoring their feelings. Because a lot of the work that I do, it goes a little bit deeper. Like, so one of the modules we talk about patience, but it's not just the tools that we practice about patience. It's also understanding what is being triggered within you when your child has a certain emotional reaction to something, because they're not intentionally trying to trigger you. It's some deep wound within yourself that is being triggered by their emotions. So we go deeper into, what is it that's being called forth to understand when we feel triggered, when we're upset, when we're angry, or when our child has an emotional reaction that we're just like, I can't handle this. So it's really going deep and really getting to the roots of it. The other big thing is for moms, just having the ability to be more present in their life. So when they want to savor a moment, they know how to get out of their distracted mind and get right into the moment. And so I do a lot of fun little techniques. Like I have this Carrie Bradshaw technique of getting super present. And so I everything is like tried and tested by me and, my coaching clients, but it's—
You have to share that now. You have to share the Carrie Bradshaw technique. Okay. Give us Carrie Bradshaw. What is it?
Okay. So a little background. I totally got presents while I was watching a Sex and the City episode. And so for anybody who's watched it, like on an episode, like you're watching the screen and then you hear this voice. It's Carrie Bradshaw's voice that's kind of talking about, oh, like Miranda's doing this, or, Charlotte is saying this. Like, you can visually see what's going on the screen, but there's a voice that's kind of talking about, like telling you, this is what that person sees. This is what that person hears. This is what that person's feeling. And so I recognize that in order to be present, when you want to get out of your distracted thoughts, a lot of times our mind is on autopilot. So we're making judgments and we're like, oh, maybe they think this, or maybe they think that, or I should be doing this, or why aren't I feeling that? Or, we're just going all over the place. When you want to get simply centered and really just want to be in the moment, just peel it back a layer and just start using your senses. What do I see in this moment? What do I hear in this moment? And use your senses to really answer those questions. So you're consciously putting the thought in your mind that you want to have. So what do I hear in this moment? What am I feeling in this moment? What am I seeing? You're now in the role of the observer, or you're now Carrie Bradshaw, that Carrie Bradshaw voice. And so you can now take control over your thoughts because you are consciously picking them. And that allows you to be completely grounded in the moment. When you practice that, you'll realize like your eyes seem a little bit more clear. You hear things a little bit more clear when you're completely in tune with what you're experiencing at that moment. And it doesn't really take more than 60 seconds to just start creating that pattern. Like, what do I hear? And you just bring your full awareness to hearing. And I teach this to kids too. And I don't teach it as a Carrie Bradshaw technique. I teach it as a scientist technique, but it helps them really get in tune with mindful listening. What do I hear? What am I seeing in this moment? And you're getting them to be really centered in that specific moment and really experiencing it.
I love that. It's like putting yourself in the narrator role, like narrating what's happening to you and to your life. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about, obviously having kids with autism, I have been the mom with the tantruming, screaming child that other people look at and I assume are judging me, being like, oh, that mom doesn't have control of her child. Oh, what a brat. Oh, and I think a lot of moms of special needs kids have these moments, especially if the kids look relatively typical. There's no outward physical indications that there is a special need unless someone spends a little time with you. But I remember at one point going through ABA therapy, they talked to me about the ABCs of looking at the antecedent, behavior, and consequence. And it was looking at like what happened just before the behavior happened, what is the behavior itself, and then what is the consequence? Because sometimes you can inadvertently be reinforcing that behavior with your reaction to it. Like So if the child is feeling ignored and they have a tantrum, they get your attention, like that behavior was rewarded by your attention, even if the attention is you were on your phone or doing, trying to compare ingredient lists at the store or whatever. So as you're talking about the tantrum, I couldn't help kind of thinking of stepping back and trying to think like, what is it that the child is wanting out of this moment? When you said honor their feelings, I was like, obviously there's something very wrong. And with my oldest daughter, she has a very painful white blood cell disorder, which is triggered by, she can't process the proteins in a lot of foods. So if she gets anything with wheat or dairy or peanuts, tree nuts, fish, shellfish, and we don't see her get it, we sometimes won't know that she's in pain until she screams and has a tantrum. So we always kind of have to be like, is this medical? Is this behavioral? Is this environmental? Is it something loud that hurt her ears? Is she having a migraine? Because she gets migraines too. Mm-hmm. So I totally feel like that scientist with my daughter, because she's mostly nonverbal. So I really have to stop and try to be like, what is going on? But early on, before I knew some of these things about her, I would totally take it personally, as if her having a tantrum was to embarrass me in front of the public, or was because I was a bad mom. Like somehow it had some judgment on me. Mm-hmm. But, finding out there were all these different things affecting her helped me to kind of step back and not take it personally when it seems like she's, hates me or something. She obviously doesn't. We love each other dearly, but she has moments of just such, explosive emotions that for ages it was hard to figure out. So I love the idea of scientists with the kids and Carrie Bradshaw narrator as an adult. Those are brilliant ways to look at it, I think. So thank you for bringing those in. I just had to give you what my personal interpretation of that in the moment.
No, I love that. No, that makes a lot of sense. With your experience, I think all moms have experienced that, where they feel like all eyes are on them because
airplanes.
And I recognized that really early on. Like, we were traveling, of course, like airplanes and airports and stuff that gives me anxiety, because you know that people are going to judge you because you can't
get away.
Your child's a child. And so before we went on our first flight, I meditated and I really centered myself, and I said, I'm going to be completely aligned with my son and the highest good. I'm going to be fully present with him, and I'm not going to care about what's happening around us. So there have been times traveling with the toddler, I will be down on the ground, sitting with him, looking at him, and we'll, be singing songs to him, because I have some songs that I sing to help him, take deep breaths and things like that. And I, the first time it was hard, you could still feel your face getting flushed. And then a couple times after, I just now, it doesn't matter where his tantrums hit, whether it's at a supermarket or if we're outside playing at a park, I can now get centered, and I don't care anybody's around me. I will just kind of get into my zone. And interestingly enough, a couple weeks ago, I was at the park, and he was just he didn't want to come home, of course. And so I was, trying to get down to his level, and I was singing our songs, and I was naturally trying to make the transition for him. And then, it took about 15 minutes, but we went, and I stayed centered, and there was a random mom that I didn't even know who was watching me. And she came up to me and she's like, I really commend you for the way that you handled your son. I was watching you, and I wasn't trying to be nosy, but she's like, I learned a lot just by watching you, the song that you were singing, and how you just stayed so calm. And then that's how I got started talking about what I did. So it was, it's interesting. I feel also when we become moms who are modeling behavior of we're centered, we're calm. Sure, our child is having an emotional experience, but we are going to be in tune with their highest good, and we're just going to be completely in tune with them and not caring about what's happening around us. I think moms tune into that too.
Mm-hmm. I've had in stores and stuff, parents come up to me before too, with particularly Tallulah, because she's the one who has the hardest time, especially in grocery food stores, because she can't eat a lot of the things that we see. A lot of other kids get to have ice creams and all these things, and we can find some alternatives, but there are times where she really wants something, and I know she's allergic to it. She can't have it. So there's no way to give her what she wants. So we just have to work through the emotions, figure something else out, talk through it. And at this point she's almost 10. She'll be 10 next month. So she's too big to scoop up and take out of the store. Like, when she was 3 or 4, it was pretty easy to be like, okay, we'll scoop you up and let's tickle and play and like get out to the car and then we'll talk more about it. At this point, we have to do it where we are. Because also, again, like at school, she's too big for anybody. I don't want anyone else scooping her up and taking her away anymore, because this is her life from now on, and we have to work through these things and figure it out. And I want everyone else to treat her in that same way, to give her the time she needs and talk her through things and not be afraid of the tantrum that happens, And she's having fewer and fewer as time goes on.
That's amazing. You're such a great mom, Jen.
You too. I love talking to you about this. Do you work with any special needs parents on this?
I do actually have some parents. I have one of my clients, she has 4 kids. They're 2 sets of twins. One child's a special needs child. She's incredible. She's probably been she's taken to these tools like so much that it's transformed. It's like her 8-year-olds like meditate now, like consistently, and like she has a practice. I've really seen a big change in her life that with these tools. And then I have had another mom. Her daughter's much younger, but she's non-responsive too, and she's autistic, and so she incorporates these tools in her life. Like she loves the finger one too. But yeah,
I like this.
Yeah, her daughter likes
kind
that
of like
too.
Doing these things, like my kids have been really into, what do you call these things when they do hand slaps and say words?
Oh, I don't remember.
Pepsi, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I don't know what they're called though.
I didn't know either. There must be some name for them. It's like little songs with slap percussion or something.
I know. There is definitely a name for it.
Yeah, but it's kind of, they're into those things that's kind of similar. I mean, Tallulah doesn't really do the verbal part as much, but and she is very responsive to things. She's just, her vocabulary is difficult. And at this point, we're really focusing on typing and writing because she can read at a pretty high level. But
awesome.
Isn't it so interesting that there's something, and it's not even that there's a problem with the vocal cords, because certain words she can say, it's just communication, back and forth conversation still eludes us. But she's come a long way. So yeah, but I think I'd like to try to incorporate this stuff more firmly overall, because especially when we have changes, like a change in aide or a change in teacher or a change in like speech therapist, I feel like we always kind of have a big regression, and it takes a while with the new person to come back. Like she has a lot of anxiety about things changing, but at the same time she loves to travel, loves to go to England, loves to visit her cousins. Yeah. So I have to apologize. Most episodes I don't go so fully like take the guests into my life. But this just applies so much with, I think it's how we all feel about our children and our families. Like, oh, yeah, that's so true in my child too, and my family.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's so good for us moms to know. I think that we understand it. We like to hear the other mom stories, know that we're not alone. There is such a kindred, the soul sister. It's nice to have that upliftment and that support of other moms. Like, I totally get it. That's great. I just wanted to quickly say, because we were talking about this, if you have your children cross their hands when they do this is actually, anytime you cross the midline of your body, it now becomes a brain balancing activity. So this is the same thing, but you just have them cross, like have your daughters cross their. Is your second child a daughter too, or do you have a?
Yeah, they're both girls.
Daughters. So you can have them cross, and any moms who are watching, cross their hands over their heart, and now it's a brain. It starts balancing out their brain.
I'll give that a go. I'll try that myself too. I feel like my brain always needs some balancing.
Good for us to do too.
So for people who want to learn more and get a taste of what you do, what can you offer?
Yeah,
What do you have going on?
absolutely. So 2 times a year, I do a free 5-day reset mindfulness experience. And the crux of this is that there's so many moms out there who are feeling stressed, who are feeling overwhelmed, and it might seem a little daunting to know how to practice mindfulness and meditation if they've never done it before. So I walk them through my 3-step daily reset plan of how we talked about effortlessly infusing mindful pauses throughout the day during tasks that they're already doing. And so I walk them through that, and I have that coming up. My next one's coming up on March 27th to March 31st. And so once you get the foundation of that, we have a beautiful community of moms who just are supportive, who are practicing alongside of us. And so if you want to join that, you can go to my website, which is www.tejalvpatel.com, and I'll spell that. It's TEJALV as in Victor, PATEL.com. And then on the navigation bar, you can go to 5-day reset. So you get all the information about the reset, and you can enter and join. And then once you have and you realize how easy it is to just infuse these mindful pauses throughout your day, then it's all about learning what are the right tools to put in your toolbox. So some days you need patience. Some days you need an energy boosting tool. Some days you want to just be present and just savor the moment. So my course, the Mindful Mama Experience, which is a 6-week online training program that I only offer 2 times a year, is going to be launching in April. So that is where you'll learn your own foundation of all the tools that you need to be a more present, patient, and peaceful mama. And then once you have your practice, I teach you the tools that you need to build this with your children to help them manage stress, difficult emotions, and build confidence and compassion. So you'll have a practice for yourself, and then you'll be able to infuse it with your children. So it's for the whole entire family. And so if you want more information on that, you can go on my website and then click on work with me, and you can sign up for the wait list, and you can get early bird bonuses and early bird pricing if you're on the wait list.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. We'll put links in the show notes and in the YouTube description for this. And so anyone interested, go to her website, check out the 5-day reset. We're going to try to get this up before March 27th so that people can check that out right away. And then also the April course. That sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to talk to you.
It was so great connecting with you too.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to come be in your world too, because I need to learn more about this. This sounds fantastic.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.